Medicare is a lot less aggravating.
Some days you'll just keep that off the record, and other days we'll use it as part of the introduction to one of hopefully 2 episodes that we're going to produce today, as next week I will not be in this state, will not have that computer, and will attempt to work on what's called vacation. Not work on vacation, not work. I can't even say it right. Nate, what is this vacation?
Take a vacation, Chris. How dare you?
Typically, I have to actually get on a boat, leave the continental United States, lock my phone in a bag to actually operate in such a form. But we're going to try to come close next week.
Good for you.
So what do you want to talk about today? We didn't have a chance to even talk about what we wanted to talk about because of a dumpster fire in the other part of our business.
Oh my gosh. Guys, don't sell life insurance. It's the worst.
Oh,
no, it's fine. It's just making me upset today. I don't know. What topics do we have? What's up? I went to a compliance meeting. I thought that was pretty fun.
Is it though?
Well, I mean, it was kind of neat to meet other agents that are not part of our ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
Meet agents who we don't talk to all the time. Although was a Christopher Westfall agent. One of his long-term agents was at that meeting. Somebody who I've kind of known a little bit in passing, but we don't really know each other. Like I recognized his name type of a situation, but that was it. Talking about the new compliance rules. Everybody's very excited about the new compliance rules.
I find it funny, like all these people post all these things and all these Medicare groups, and I feel like they're expecting the CMS, FBI, SWAT task force to bust into their brick and mortar the moment it even steps into an area they're uncomfortable with.
Yeah. Compliance officer, and this was being given by a carrier. The compliance officer for this particular carrier was like at the meeting said, so if I'm doing a paper application, is anybody even going to know how much time is between when I wrote the scope of appointment and when I actually had the meeting? Like, how is anybody going to track that? And the compliance officer said, well, if we get a complaint and we call your client and they say that you met them on the same day that they signed their scope of appointment, well, then that's going to be a problem, and that might get you in trouble. That's what the compliance officer says.
Yeah.
So this is like from a compliance meeting with a carrier.
It's their job, and that's what their salary pays for. I would expect the same level of directness from a lawyer if I asked them a lawyer question.
Yeah.
But they're not the sales division. They're not the marketing division. They're not the in the house with bed bugs division. Like
the one thing that I thought was interesting was the compliance officer was very, very specifically saying, calls into you do not require a 48-hour scope of appointment. It requires a scope of appointment. You still have to get a scope of some sort, but you do not need 48 hours on that scope. So if somebody calls you and they're not on your recorded line, have a number for that recorded line and have them call you right back. Because as long as they call you and they're calling you inbound onto your recorded line, you don't need 48 hours for that scope. He also said, you have a Walmart table or a Rite Aid table. This particular carrier has tables that relationship with Rite Aids. Any kind of booth, and one of your current clients comes to meet you at your booth. As long as you didn't prearrange exactly what time they were coming to meet you at your booth, you just said, hey, stop by sometime today, and they stop by your booth, that counts as a walk-in. This is coming from the compliance officer. I was like, whoa, that's bold. He said very specifically, this is a great year to have a brick and mortar office, and it's a great year to have booths at places like Walmart, because it gives you a place to have your current clients come meet you.
What if, this is a good topic for 2 or 3 minutes to go on, what if your business model isn't booths? Kind of rhymes too. I think it works really well for a certain type of person, and it's the perfect concept for a certain type of person. But if you're a hunter and you're used to hunting and catching what you eat and hoping it's deposited into your account properly, very different business model, wouldn't you agree?
I would, yeah. And so I think we're looking at two different things. We're looking at how do you deal with having the necessary appointments with your existing client base to update their plans as needed, because you don't need a scope to review a plan. You only need a scope if you're going to make changes, right? If they're a current client, you do not need a scope to review their plan and the updates on what they're already in. Only if you're going to make changes. So that's one set of like issues, right? What do you do with your current clients? And for those people, I actually think like, yeah, they've already got a relationship with you. Just have them call you back on a recorded line. Do those over the phone, man. Don't go out to see those people. Or if you've got an office, I work from my home office. Like, I mean, I kind of don't mind if my clients come here, but most of them aren't going to want to come here. I live sort of far away from most of my clients, but have them come to you, right? But for new prospects, people who are not already clients, I feel like a lot of it depends on the type of leads that you're working. The only thing that I see as being a real legitimate issue for most agents is that door knocking has once again gone from being sort of a gray area. Door knocking a direct mail lead, has gone from being sort of a gray area to unequivocally not allowed. Door knocking a Medicare supplement lead, and converting that into a Medicare Advantage sale, unequivocally black and white. This is specifically the thing that CMS is trying to put a halt to. Unequivocal, like very, very clearly black and white, not allowed. But scheduled appointments, yeah, appointments. If you have the skills to set appointments, you will be in really good shape. This is a good time to get good appointment setting skills. Get good at it.
Or outsource the task. Adam and I had conversations on his channel,
Sure.
And I think even in our channel about hiring an appointment setter, when it's the right time, when it isn't, when to outsource certain tasks. I think if you've got good cash reserves and you've got a lot of leads and a lot of places to be, like, give somebody else the task as well becomes relevant at some point in your business.
Yeah, sure. You can have an appointment setter. And I mean, but either way, like appointments, like if you have set appointments, you no longer have any problems. I mean, really, that is my big takeaway from this meeting with a compliance officer from a major carrier was, you have set scheduled appointments, you should not have any problems, because you can always just schedule your appointments 48 hours out. And that should not be a big deal.
There you go.
Walk-ins are great. If you have, is the other thing they told us is, like, if you have a set scheduled appointment and somebody says to you, hey, didn't know that you did Medicare. Can you please talk to me about Medicare? That's a walk-in. Okay.
You just
ask me about my Medicare badges. It's not a walk-in if you bring it up, but if they bring it up, it's a walk-in.
There you go.
According to a major carrier compliance officer.
Next question for this morning. When it comes to reviewing your current clients' current coverage, especially during, I guess, that AEP phase, pre-AEP phase, how much of that business would you plan on flipping or moving into a different plan?
You don't get paid if you move somebody who's already your client onto a new plan, right? Like, you get advanced again, but you get paid the same amount of money at the end of the year. Like, your 1099 is going to say the same amount whether they moved or whether they stayed, right? Don't put a lot of time into that. Don't plan on flipping those people. Like, flip them if it means that they're going to stay your client.
Well, say for example, you have A that they're currently in, and I want to get a little bit more specific with this, and they're in a nice $100 a month gift back. It's working perfectly fine. And now there's a new plan. It's $150 a month gift back.
Sure.
What do you do in those type of scenarios?
So you're in a situation where you've got maybe several clients, dozens, hundreds of clients who are in a plan that was a very good plan for them, but is no longer the most competitive plan on the market for them. What you want to do is you want to figure out a way to touch all of those clients and let them know, hey, want to discuss your plan and review your plan so that you have the ability to make some changes, because there's new things on the market. And you want to see all of those people prior to October 15th to decide if they want to make a change. They may not want to make a change. They may be like, it's $50 a month. I don't know that it's that big a deal. I'm happy where I am. Great. You have now at least touched them and let them know that there was that other option available to them. They're happy. They feel good. They feel taken care of. They feel like you're their agent and you're doing all of the things that you're supposed to be doing. And then the ones that are like, yeah, man, $50 a month would be really helpful. Like, let's switch. You've got them all lined up and scheduled so that, like, whenever you start your day on October 15th, you can just, have pre-scheduled phone call appointments with your scope of appointment that you got signed when you did the review weeks ago, or like on October 1st, right? You did the appointment on October 1st, 15 days ago, 15 days have gone by. You have that scope of appointment and you just knock those people out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, short phone calls, plan again. We were in person the other day. Here's the disclaimer. Just confirming that you understand all of these things about the plan. You still want to enroll. Yes. Great. Submit. Move on. Next one.
And how does that pay you, though, as the agent? Say you take someone from plan A to plan B that's already on your book of business, per se.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get paid. I mean, you get paid. You do get paid. You'll get advanced New Year's commission and paid as earned for them for that year. But again, you'll make the same, depending on where you live, $304. You'll make the same $300-ish off of that person that you would have made anyway. It's just, are you getting it in one lump sum in January, or are you getting it $26 at a time?
Good point. Let's now that I got that covered, I got another one for you. Kind of more of a high level question that I watched on a video yesterday that kind of burned parts of my soul away slowly, as most things online do. When we get to a point in the industry, it's not this year, it's not next year, at some point in our lifetime, hopefully, where you reach large amounts of Medicare Advantage penetration, where less people are turning 65. It's not 10,000 a day anymore. It might be significantly less. And that boomer generation shifts at that point in time. What do you think the industry looks like when we move past this massive influx wave of business we've been in?
So it's not going to happen for 15 years, right? I think we've still got 15 years left, because it started in 2020 and it was 20 years. So it's more than 15 years, 10,000 people a day for 20 years. Like, we got a long time left before that wave dies. I can predict the industry that out. So much has changed in the last 5 years, right? 5 years ago, it's August 11th, 2023, as we record this. If we were talking in August of 2018, like, man, the industry was a different place. Like, what was available, the market penetration of Medicare Advantage plans at the point, the rules of what was allowed didn't even really exist. Connecture was out, but like just kind of like baby training wheels versions of Connecture. Electronic scope of appointments didn't exist. Most agents were still doing pen and paper applications. Like, at this compliance meeting that I went to, didn't even acknowledge that you might be doing things with pen and paper. They were like, people would ask questions and they'd be like, oh, it depends on what system you use to submit your stuff. And it's like, no. Like this one guy was like, no, I'm like pen and paper. And he's like, oh, wow. Well, who does pen and paper anymore?
What in the world?
Right. Like 5 years ago, everybody did pen and paper. Yeah. 2017, I had the entire would ride low because I had so many boxes of applications in the back of my car. It's just a different world. Imagine what things like AI, advances in that type of technology, are going to do to change the industry in the next 5 years. We're at a very exciting time. Stuff changes and is moving at a very rapid pace. And regulations are shifting. They may continue to make it harder to write business. Ultimately, I was having this conversation with another agent at this meeting yesterday, who started selling Medicare around the same time I did. He'd been doing this about 9 months longer than I have, but roughly 10 years. And we were talking and we were like, man, it was a lot harder in 2013, 2014, and 2015 to write Medicare business, but it was so much easier to keep the business that you wrote. Like, you used to be able to write Medicare business and it would stick forever. And it was like guaranteed. If you wrote one Medicare application, you were 100% guaranteed to get 10 referrals from that one Medicare application, like every single time. And that's just not the world we live in anymore. Like, you used to be able to drop for Medicare and you would get like 6 and 7% returns on your direct mail for Medicare. That doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Medicare direct mail returns worse than final expense direct mail does now.
Yeah.
So how all that's going to change going forward, it's so hard to say. It's like I think anybody who claims that they can predict where things are going is optimistic at best.
Absolutely. I got one more for this video before we splice it. I don't splice it. Aaron splices it, and I get part 2 filmed for the next week. Where I won't be here, I'll be on what I think is called vacation. Not sure how those things work. Private equity versus stock-owned companies versus just mind your own freaking business, run your business, make money, provide for your family, and let the rest of it work itself out. You want to tackle that one next?
Yeah, sure.
I look at it like this. I'm going to give my thoughts, and I'm going to let you the reins from there.
Okay.
There's so much in both the final expense, life side, and the Medicare side, and the industry in whole that happen up here, that you have no control over. Hardly any input in, hardly any output. They've been around for 15, 20, 30 years. They knew it before you were even a thing, and it just happens. Part of it you have no control over. By getting angry about it, you'll get nothing from it. Like, just let it be. Private equity has done great things in helping things like Connextra take off and Medicare Center take off and funneling into places that help us money. Stock-owned company. I like with the Robinhood app. That's about what I know about stock. I mean, sure, it's a thing. Thank God it's not a communist nation where this wouldn't even be a conversation. Realistically, the hardest thing you have to deal with, speaking of whoever's watching the video, is you versus you, not private equity versus stock ownership. Like, how are you going to get out the door? How are you going to set your appointments? How are you going to get the leads? How are you going to deal with your kid being sick October 16th, the second day of Medicare, but they got to get picked up from school? Worry about you versus you way more than private equity versus stock ownership, because it's not even a thing for 99% of the industry, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. Like, I'm thinking about it and I'm like, for the people who are going to be watching this video, why do you care? And maybe they don't, right? Like, maybe they don't. And this is a boring topic and like, hey, see ya. But like, I don't know why they care. It doesn't. The thing that should matter to the individual agent on the ground, if you're not planning on opening up an agency with other agents that are working for you, or as downline agents that are working with you, that you're like, because there's like models, right? There's 2 basic ways that you can open up an agency. You can hire agents that work for you and pay them a salary and they write business, LOA, or you can have downline agents that it's a different thing. But either way, I'm planning on building an agency with dozens of other agents. Who do you care? Why do you care? Like, you're not getting direct contracts with any of these carriers. As an individual agent, you're just not. Even as an agent with 5 or 6 downline agents, you're not getting direct contracts with any of these carriers. You're probably not getting significantly above street level contracts with any of these carriers if you've got a bunch of agents under you. You should be looking at how to build your business and what resources are available to your business. You should be looking at what kind of marketing support can be offered to you. You should be looking at what kind of technological support can be offered to you. You should be looking at what kind of sales support can be offered to you. You should be looking at what kind of educational training support can be offered to you. These are things that matter. And if you have agents that are under you, 5, 6, 7 agents that are under you, matter what can you pass through to them? How can you give them support? If you start to get to be the person who's got like 40 or 50 agents under you, maybe it starts to matter. If you build an LOA style team like a PA office where you've got, 3 salaried agents, you're paying a set salary to, and they're each writing hundreds of apps a year, and you as a 4-person group are writing 800 apps a year. Great. All right. So then it's going to start to matter to you. But yeah, like for the most part, it matter. Like none of them are. There are no good choices, right? You can just do what you're going to do and pick the least bad choice. Find some people that you think you can trust to work with along the way, because you will need to work with partners. You will always have to have somebody that you partner up with until you are massively huge. And like, even when you're massively huge, probably you still need to partner with somebody. There are agencies out there that are writing 60,000 apps a year that are not capable of getting direct contracts, that still have to partner with somebody. So like we're talking like big before you can get direct contracts and don't need to partner with anybody.
I think even looking at it, and I'll close on this point, like SRG, one of the largest brick and mortars in the Philadelphia market, I believe AmeriLife owned, run by great folks, nice office in South Philly, partners with IFG when they do their big Philadelphia event, because even large organizations partner with large organizations, leverage talent, distribution, and to gather resources for you. Worry about you unless you are really, really, really big.
It's just not possible to do it all on your own. You're never going to be able to get access to the stuff that people who are submitting millions of dollars of business a month get access to. But if you work with those people, you can get access to the stuff through them. Like I don't know. I've got a sized agency. I've got 40 or 50 agents who have decided that they wanted to work with me. We write a good amount of business every single month, but we partner with other people so that I have the ability to give them CRMs and access to trainings beyond just my own brain, because multiple inputs is good. Access to marketing money that I wouldn't have to give them. Like there's stuff that's available that's great, explode your business, but you mostly can't get it by yourself. You have to work with somebody.
There you go. Ready for your hot take?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how
I'm surprised that none of this counts as a hot take at this point.
I don't know. I was thinking, but I never prefaced it that way, so I didn't want a cheat segment. Here you go. Here's an actual hot take.
Okay.
Aaron, it'd be a good spot for like a hot take graphic. Like, boom, something hot first off the stove. Would you ever write a dual eligible, a non-dual plan?
Have. Yeah. Will and have. Sometimes it's the right thing to do. I'll tell you the circumstances where I've done it in the past. It doesn't happen very often. You see somebody who's dual eligible who has a psychiatrist that does not take any of the DSNPs, and messing with their psychiatry is, don't do that. Bad juju. You see somebody who is dual eligible that has a pain management specialist that does not take any of the DSNPs, and they're on a fentanyl patch that needs to get every 15 days or they go into withdrawals. Don't do that. Don't put them on a DSNP that's going to screw them up like that. If you are in an area that has strong PPO plans, that are good benefits, and not everybody does. Some places, the PPO plans stink. That's just the reality of some places. In the Philadelphia area, we are fortunate. We have some extraordinarily strong PPO plans.
There's just too many.
There's almost, in Philadelphia, there's no reason to write anybody in HMO, because there are PPO plans that are every bit as competitive as the HMOs in terms of the business, in terms of the benefits they offer. And you get.
Can we just borrow 2 plans and take them into Cecil County so people out here aren't on $60 a month? They'll carry your name, $60 a month Medicare Advantage plans. Can I just have like 2 of them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if it was up to me, yeah, everybody would these plans. Like, I feel like this is like, not everybody does not. A unique benefit of the Philadelphia area is like, we've got like amazing PPO plans, and I know that's not the case everywhere in the country.
No.
But if you are in a place that has really strong PPO plans, they're not going to be as good as a DSNP plan in terms of extras, but many of them offer really good benefits that'll still help your Medicare eligible person. And if it's a PPO plan, they still don't have to worry about the copays. It is still possible their doctor won't accept the PPO plan, but you check it first, right? Like if you're going to be doing this, it's because you've checked their doctors, right? You're not doing this for no reason. And you don't have to do it with a PPO plan. You could put somebody into an HMO plan that takes all of their doctors, but then you're running into a situation of like, why is their doctor taking the HMO plan but not the DSNP? That's a little weird. Although not impossible. Maybe
I've seen it.
Yeah, it happens. It's just unusual. It happens less often. It never happened to me. But again, I have really good PPO plans, and I would always rather write a PPO plan if given the choice. It's a personal philosophy. I think they're better.